going on, everybody? This is dkdynamite, and tonight we're going to be talking about Janus Towers, which is DLC 4 for Black Ops 6 Zombies. Definitely stay tuned. Now, I get it, DLC 3 Shattered Veil just came out, but there's a good amount of information I do want to recap for you in this video, considering quite a bit has been learned about the next and potentially final round-based map for BO6, and I'm sure you won't want to miss out on that. But I do apologize if my voice sounds pretty terrible. I'm losing it. It's been a crazy last couple of days with the launch of Season 3, a lot of recording, a lot of sleepless nights. Thank you for bearing with me on that one. But with that, I do believe this season has been the most well-received one of Black Ops 6. Hopefully it's just up from here for the remainder of this game's life cycle. Now, we are going to be talking about the story implications going into Janus Towers a little bit later in this video, but I do have some separate and dedicated story videos planned that should be coming out over the next couple of days. Speaking of story, though, the ending cutscene of the Shattered Veil absolutely blew people's minds. Now, thank God, Richtofen is a lot more integral to the story again and should be playing a main role as we get into what could be the final round-based map of BO6. Obviously, though, as you guys saw in the cutscene, you can clearly see where we're going next. Sadly, we can't bring our loadouts from our high round run of Shattered Veil into the first round of Janus Towers, but we're walking what seems to be a couple of 100 feet to the next map, kind of similar to how both Citadel de Mor and the Tomb both took place in Avalon, not too far away from one another. But the difference from DLC 1 and 2 taking place close to each other from DLC 3 and 4 being the same deal is that you're actually able to see Janus Towers pretty clearly when you go into a chopper gunner in either Liberty Falls or the Shattered Veil, all of which take place in the same town of West Virginia. So it's been pretty unique that over the last few months, we've essentially known where we're going. Some folks would say that that kind of ruins the element of surprise and makes the experience feel a little off since all the maps, or at least a lot of them, a good chunk of them, all take place in the same vicinity. As long as the maps all flow differently, then I personally don't mind. It's something different that Treyarch hasn't really done before, and I think if you compare Liberty Falls and Shattered Veil, you could say that as of now, you're getting pretty different gameplay experiences. But regardless, you guys know about the big leaks that popped up on the internet a couple of months ago, so it was already known we were going to Janus Towers. However, it's cool that we finally got confirmation of that. Now, I also want to mention real quickly if whether or not I think we're going to get an intro cutscene for DLC 4. As of now, I don't think so. I think it was somehow and somewhat genius that the Liberty Falls intro essentially covered multiple bases with the DLC story and how it essentially and effectively set up the mansion, a map that we wouldn't see for several months, while it also gave away a pretty important detail that SAM is going to be a boss eventually who isn't actually on our side. Neither Blanchard or Panos, who actually played some large role in Liberty Falls, appeared in DLC 3, so you can bet they're also going to play a pretty integral role in the final map of this year. Now, although I don't believe we're going to be seeing an intro cutscene for Janus Towers, I'm still really hoping that, like with the Shattered Veil, we get a really cool mid-Easter egg cutscene, whether it's after a boss like we saw in Terminus, or whether it's just closer to the ending. If we have a cutscene that lasts a couple of minutes before the actual ending, that's great for story building and can still further the plot in ways that an intro unfortunately didn't. Now, I'm not saying I don't want an intro, because obviously there's lots of exposition and lots of other story beats that could be touched on that have nothing to even do with our main crew, but all the other characters that have been established that haven't gotten much development since the beginning of this game, would totally love to see one. But right now, what I'm betting is that we might see a mid-map cutscene and a really long ending for Janus Towers that'll hopefully set up what is going to be happening in Black Ops 7, a game that allegedly comes out a couple of months from now. Now, hey, we also haven't seen any follow-up to that Modern Warfare Zombies ending from last year where Ava Jansen gets pulled into a portal by a Shadowsmith. You can see the mansion in the distance, so clearly she's still in Liberty Falls. The last chance to see her pop up is likely going to be in Janus Towers, and if I had to guess, her storyline continuation will probably help set up and be more involved inside of COD 2025, not necessarily Black Ops 6, especially if we're going to be getting some type of spiritual sequel to Modern Warfare Zombies and Outbreak with this big round-based map that's rumored for the next game. Now, as you've been seeing in the background gameplay, hitting every single shot during the Z-Rex boss fight absolutely matters. Honestly, missing a few shots can probably chalk your entire run, especially if you're on solo. That's why it's important to maximize your performance and precision with the brand new Speed Cola Collector Edition thumbsticks, which are available right now on Control Freak's website and their mobile app. Better yet, they also come with a limited Speed Cola Collector's can, which does match the limited Deadshot can that came out last year. That's not all, though. If Speed Cola is your favorite perk, then you can also bring it anywhere you go, whether it's multiplayer or Warzone with a limited edition weapon charm that no hardcore fan is gonna want to miss out on. Now, I'm currently using a pair for my PlayStation controller, but I am going to be giving away a Speed Cola Collector's Edition can for Xbox remotes. If you guys are interested in this, feel free to drop a comment down below, and don't forget you can use code Dynamite to save 12% off any order on Control Freak, including for the brand new Speed Cola Collector's Edition. Now back to the video, I also want to discuss the possible vertical layout of the Janus Towers. Obviously, we'll learn more about this as we get closer to release, which we'll also circle back to as far as when the map could come out, but I do feel like this could be some type of spiritual successor to what we saw in Die Rise back in Black Ops 2. That was DLC 1 for that game, and ever since, we haven't really seen a map like that has more of a vertical layout with elevators and the ability to fall off of the map the way that you were able to in those giant skyscrapers that were playable. I mean, you're able to jump from building to building, which was pretty cool. What if Janus Towers works a little bit similarly, where maybe there's zip lines connecting each of the towers, and if you fall, that could kill you? Or maybe there's some areas that you could fall in, and like in the tomb, you'll just respawn where you were at like 1 HP or something. Just spitting some ideas, but I think there's a massive, and I mean massive, opportunity to see the grappling hook from the campaign be introduced in this round-based map. Now, no doubt in my mind, I think for the next Outbreak map, we'll probably see the grapple gun again, as we saw in Cold War, but for this round-based map in particular, that grapple attachment from the campaign could make for some really cool gameplay opportunities that you can't find in the other Liberty Falls maps, the Launch one and the Shattered Veil. I also think that's what Zombies needs a little bit more of, is a set of exclusive features and mechanics that you won't be able to find in multiplayer or Warzone, just to continue giving Zombies its own personality and exclusivity to help it stand out from other modes and to help eliminate or drastically reduce that conversation about the Warzonification of Call of Duty Zombies. Now let's also address the elephant in the room, right? Is this the last map? I am aware that Insider the Ghost of Hope, who has actually reported on a number of different details for Warzone over the last few months, I know that he is claiming there's apparently at least 1 to 2 maps left after Janus Towers. Again, take all rumors, like I always say, with a grain of salt, because some info may have been true one day and got scrapped or modified a week or two later. You never know. I don't personally believe we'll get another map after Janus Towers, considering we're getting Black Ops 7 with probably a whole other roster of maps and experiences. Don't think Treyarch probably has that kind of time to do it, but then again, we could be surprised. As far as when this map could come out, though, I do think Season 4 will probably give us a bit of a break with round-based and focus more on some other game modes or updates that have previously been rumored, like Grief, for example. That's probably what we'll see. I think Season 5 is probably a good time to do another map, which is kind of towards the summer, and probably before the beta for the next game and the Haunting for BO6 will end up kicking off, so that's probably how they'll do it. And then Season 6 for Zombies will probably just add a big Halloween update to all maps and modes, so that'll keep us going for sure until COD 2025 releases. I think, to be honest with you, Season 4 is kind of the only season that we have to worry about as far as what they could add. I think that's the season where they should add in as many healthy and replayable gameplay updates to keep us going until the next map. But I also get it, we've been going back to back to back with new round-based maps every season, so things might get a bit weird with the upcoming seasons. Now let's also talk about enemy types, because for the last couple of months, Hellhounds have been leaked for Black Ops 6, and with seemingly 1 map left to go, this will probably be the map where we end up seeing them. They'll probably be the same kind of Hellhounds you saw in Modern Warfare Zombies. We haven't seen Hellhounds in quite some time, at least in a Call of Duty round-based map, so really curious to see what they end up doing with the Janus Towers dog rounds. We got a new dog round in the Shattered Veil with the Toxic Zombie, but I'm sure if they're going to bring back Manglers or Disciples again in this map, they're going to want to at least change up the dog round again so that the map doesn't feel too similar to DLC 3. Now, if you guys remember, about a month and a half ago, a new leak did suggest that a Mecha Klaus enemy type, or just a Mecha Klaus character, would be coming to Black Ops 6 Zombies, and I figured, hey, if we're going to Richtofen's lab in the mansion, that's probably where we'll see him. Well, that didn't end up happening, but new intel does suggest that Richtofen was using Klaus to eliminate Omega operatives, hinting at the possibility of multiple Klaus units as Project Janus enforcers, possibly mass-produced at the Janus Towers, setting up maybe a Mecha Klaus enemy or friendly bodyguard we can activate, who was again recently found in a big data mine. Now, it looks like we're setting up SAM as the final boss, as SAM is unharmed by current weapons in DLC 3. They'll laugh at our gunshots from even the Mark II and vanishes from her underground chamber after the main Easter egg has been completed. She's likely going to Janus Towers, right down the street, hyped as an indestructible final boss requiring a new powerful weapon to defeat, which could possibly be the Wonder Weapon, which brings me to my next point. Dynamite and Reality UK did put this out following the launch of Season 3, which could imply what type of Wonder Weapon we're about to get in the last map. Now, he's claiming that the leaks suggest it's going to be a pistol. Right away in the comments of this tweet, a lot of folks were saying, what about the Cerberus from Mauder Toten, which funny enough can be seen in the Urzikstan Modern Warfare Zombies intro cutscene right by our dead Requiem crew. Could be a bit of a stretch, but maybe a new version of the Cerberus, a more enhanced version, or some type of pistol-based Wonder Weapon that could be upgraded to different elements or different types. I get it, we just saw the Mark II variants on Shattered Veil, so are we really going to see 3 to 4 variants again in the next map, or will it just be one very powerful Wonder Weapon that will stand out amongst a lot of other Wonder Weapons? I think it's also a little problematic that Black Ops 6 Zombies has brought in lots of returning Wonder Weapons, so I'm going to hope that it's going to be a fully original one that we get in the final map of the year. Now, other gameplay rumors that you guys may have missed out on, but maybe you haven't. Mule Kick was teased by a Treyarch dev at the Terminus Capture event last summer, so that should be coming out at some point. Keep in mind, we do have 3 seasons left, so we could still get a perk in between ROM-based map launches that is simply added to the Wonder Fizz machine. And we know that Tombstone has been actually data mined for a number of months. I almost find it hard to believe that we might end the life cycle off with BO6 with something like Tombstone. You would think something more exciting like Winter's Wail or Widow's Wine would be that perk. Double Tap alone is probably one of the most hyped perk updates in years, so I'm curious to see what they end up adding, or maybe adding freshly to the game's files that hasn't already been leaked at some point in the next few months. But we know about the Shatter Blast ammo mod that was also leaked recently, and there's also some other epic gobblegums, such as Absolutely Over There, not sure what that does, and Power Vacuum, which will end up spawning a lot more power-ups much more frequently for like a couple of minutes straight like we saw in BO3. But that is about it. This has been dkdynamite. Leave your thoughts down below in the comment section. What are your thoughts on everything we know so far about Janus Towers DLC 4? Again, I'll be making a follow-up video talking more about the narrative and some of the story beats that you may have missed. Don't forget, though, we have plenty of narrative available over on the Detonated Codex, which is going to be linked down below. Every piece of intel from Black Ops Zombies, and just about every other Zombies iteration from Treyarch, apart from Classic Ether, which we're still working on, but got you covered, even with Chaos. Leave all your thoughts down below. Do you think this will be the final map of the year? Really hope you've enjoyed, and peace out, everybody.